Well, it's the 14th day of February 2023. Happy Valentine's from wherever you're watching us in Nairobi, Kenya, and around the world. Welcome to Prime Edition. I am Mboya, and this live broadcast begins right now. Insecurity in the north. Inspector General of Police Japheth Koome visits the troubled area of Kainuk in Turkana as residents of bandit-prone counties welcome the deployment of KDF.
Tarehe hii ya 14 kwa mapenzi ya Mungu tupate nafasi ya kuombea nchi yetu, hasa kwa jambo hili la kiangazi, na Mungu aweze kutupatia mvua.
The praying nation. President William Ruto leads the nation in seeking divine intervention on the many calamities facing the country. Plus, the month of love is here. A flower or two. Kenyans celebrate Valentine's Day. Thank you once again for joining us. Our sign language interpreter is Susan Thuku. Our socials at KBC Prime Edition, and my Twitter handle at Mboya24. Let's begin with our lead story. And President William Ruto Tuesday led the nation to commit to God for divine intervention to overcome the many calamities facing the nation. The head of state promising that his government has put in place a plan to distribute subsidized fertilizer and seeds to farmers as they prepare for the planting season. The president said as religious leaders do their part of praying, he will ensure that Kenyans get the best from the government. Ben Chumba reports.
Tuesday, and hundreds of Kenyans flocked to Nyayo Stadium for national prayers to seek the hand of God in overcoming the drought and many ills facing this nation.
I want to say, as a prophet of God in this land, no weapon that is formed against this land shall prosper. Every voice of a man that rises up against what God has done, we as the people of God condemn. We condemn the voices of division. We condemn the voices of them that are not satisfied with our systems.
Religious leaders appealing for the masses from heaven to wipe out the drought that is disseminating the country, causing untold suffering to millions who are now relying on relief donations for survival.
Give to the Kenyans the zeal to work, the joy to work, that they may all come to a place of harvest.
The congregation, joined by President William Ruto, his deputy Rigathi Gachagua, and the Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi, all joining hands to pray for the country and seek heavens to open up. The Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua called on the church to continue praying for the nation as the government worked towards improving the lives of Kenyans.
Your Excellency, as we hold these prayers for rain, 5.3 million Kenyans are staring at starvation. More than 2.5 million heads of cattle have died, and the situation doesn't look any better. So the prayers today to intercede with God to give us rain are more than welcome.
The president assured the nation that the government was working towards stabilizing the country's economy.
A good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. He doesn't leave debt for his children. We had accumulated too much reckless debt. And I want to say, with a lot of humility, that, as Pastor Lai said, we will pay our debts.
He hailed the church for taking its rightful role, saying the unity between the church and the leaders will see Kenya move forward.
Kenya will be lifted up, and I want to thank you for praying for the plan so that we can lift all our citizens, and Kenya shall be a country of plenty. Kenya shall be a country that we are going to lend and not borrow. That is the nation that we all look forward to. Na tunaamini Mungu atatujalia.
The head of state called on Kenyans to ignore the naysayers who do not believe in the capability of the government to deliver on its promises, saying with the goodwill Kenya was marching forward. Beatrice Gatonyengetich, Prime Edition.
That report filed by Beatrice Gatonyengetich and not Ben Chumba, as I mentioned earlier. Ben's report is coming a little later on our security update. Now, Parliament reopened today to a busy intray. The National Assembly is set to amend the Constitution to create the office of the official leader of opposition. This follows the President's message to the House that also seeks a review of standing orders to allow cabinet secretaries to appear before the House. Gishuke Washira has the details.
The two houses of Parliament resumed sittings after a long recess, the sole business of their first day being creation of House Business Committee at the National Assembly and Senate Business Committee at the Senate. In the National Assembly, Speaker Moses Wetangula conveyed the President's message seeking establishment of Office of Official Leader of Opposition, as well as entrenchment of NGCDF, National Government Affirmative Fund, and Senate Oversight Fund in the Constitution.
In order to ensure greater political inclusivity and promote effective checks and balances, sound institutional practices, His Excellency the President has proposed the establishment of the Office of the Leader of Official Opposition.
The President also wants the House to address the third gender principle that has dodged the two previous houses. Justice and Legal Affairs Committee Chairperson George Murugara indicating the committee will expedite the two proposals and table a report in 2 months.
We are not creating that office for a specific person. It is an office for posterity. It marries between our presidential system and parliamentary system. There are ways and means of going around it, and we believe we can actually cure the issues that are being raised, that as a presidential system, we cannot have the leader of opposition on the other side.
So that governments can function properly, there must always be checks and balances. And I believe the best way to check the government is to have a strong opposition. And I want to remind the opposition that when we talk about an office of the leader of opposition, no one is talking about Raila Odinga.
The President also wants the National Assembly to amend the standing orders and allow cabinet secretaries to appear in the House to answer to questions from members.
That the rules of the House be aligned to allow cabinet secretaries to respond to questions raised by members on the floor of the House. This would enhance transparency and close the information gap between citizens and the government on 9th December 2022.
Right now, the arrangement is that you send your questions to the committee, and the committee sends the question to the CS, who doesn't appear in the House. There are members who would like to interrogate the questions they have asked further, instantaneously. Now they cannot do it.
I invite your attention to guide the House whether Senator Karen Nyamu is properly dressed.
At the Senate, nominated Senators Karen Nyamu and Gloria Oroba were expelled from the Senate for failing to adhere to parliamentary guidelines on dress codes and advised to dress appropriately. Gishuke Washira, Prime Edition.
Now, the Teachers Service Commission now wants Parliament to allocate its 2 billion shillings annually in order to promote over 10,000 teachers that have stagnated in various job groups while appearing before the National Assembly Committee on Education following a myriad of complaints. TSC Chief Executive Officer Nancy Macharia was also hard-pressed to explain why teachers are charged an extra fee to access health services at hospitals despite having insurance cover. Let's listen into that report.
The Teacher Service Commission's Chief Executive Officer Nancy Macharia on Tuesday appeared before the National Assembly Departmental Committee on Education to address a number of complaints raised by teachers, among them stagnation in various job groups. The CEO defended the Commission over the issue and further urged Parliament to allocate at least 2 billion shillings for the promotion of teachers.
Can we at least even get an acting allowance back and so that when these teachers are appointed, no matter for how long, then we can give them an acting allowance. Chair, the issue on promotions is pegged on budget. Give us 2 billion. We will promote all these teachers.
At the same time, TSC was also put on the spot over the medical services provided to teachers by a private company known as Minet Insurance.
Why are you actually charging these teachers extra? Actually, I think that is actually something which is not good in this contract, among many others that we shall see in the main contract.
You've said that you have removed the requirement that you get a referral from police. Madam, have you checked with your teachers?
Even if we had taken them to NHIF, there is still co-pay. It is a standard practice in the insurance industry. Even as in the secretariat, we have an insurance scheme. We still have co-pay.
What is this that informs the entire system that whenever there is a tender every year, the Minet qualifies again to provide?
It's not always that Minet must get it. It's the tendering process, which was above board. And I mean every institution in this country concerned with the procurement and everything, including the AG.
We have paid the premium for the first year. We have not paid the entire 50-something billion that the member mentioned.
We tried to ask for money from this committee so that we could take our teachers to NHIF. But again, the money was not available, and we were told by the National Treasury to advertise.
It was, however, the revelation by the Commission that the teachers' medical cover varied because of various job groups that shocked the committee.
The issue also has to do with the cost. There are more teachers on the lower side of the job group than on the higher side. So if you equalize the medical cover, then you are likely to pay more than if you had that.
Let the teachers be covered equally. Look at it, because sickness is never desegregated. Does not desegregate. A teacher who entered the service yesterday will be sick, like the same as a teacher in job group, you are saying D something, is it? The chief principal. So this should actually not be an issue.
TSC also indicated that 10,000 teachers have been recruited to join junior secondary schools by Monday. For Prime Edition, I'm Gladys Mungai.
Well, we're going to take a short break right here on Prime Edition. I am still in charge. Those are not my words. Those are the words of the embattled Jubilee. Secretary General Jeremiah Kione is reiterating that there is no vacuum. Plus, later on in business, fuel prices to remain unchanged over the next 1 month. Plus, later on in sports, Kogalo goes on the rampage and hits Wazito Football Club 4 good ones. Stay with us. We will be back.
Happy Valentine's.
Yo man, happy Valentine's. Man, mi leo nimepiga, apology yangu polite.
Apology on Valentine's Day, bro. Kwani ulifanya nini?
Absolutely man, it's a it's a great day to embrace love, manze. Si ndio, yeah?
Octopizzo was joined on stage by Lisa Oduor, Wendy Kay, and Costa Ojwang, who were some of the artists he collaborated with on this work of art.
Imani has been trending on TikTok, Instagram, everywhere. She has just been trending because of whistling. All that she does is just whistle and talk to people.
Sakaje!
and they ranked Jay-Z as the best male rapper of all times, and the female rapper of all time was none other than Nicki Minaj. Do you agree with it?
This is Nairobi first and foremost, so Valentine's is difficult in Nairobi, but yeah, of course. The thing is I always tell my family and my friends that I love them as much as I do. Valentine's is just a good way to formalize it.
Kitabu kiongi kelogata, yete kitabu kiongi kelogata. Nini?
Nimesahau kucheza Loto Moto. Usisahau kucheza Loto Moto. Shinda milioni 2 kila siku kwenye M-Pesa. Chagua lipa na M-Pesa. Paybill number 757070. Account number andika neno Loto. Kisha weka star na nambari yako ya simu. Weka kiwango chochote cha pesa kuanzia shilingi 50 hadi 2000.
Aulali.
Lipa kisha subiri draw. Welala. Nitakutimizia ndoto zako. Milioni 2 usiamini. Ujumbe huu umeidhinishwa na BCLB.
After the conclusion of an impressive Athletics Kenya Cross Country Championships, Team Kenya now sets her sight on the 44th edition of the Global Showpiece, the World Athletics Cross Country Championships Bathurst 23 in Australia. Lined up for the titles is Kenya's contingent of 30 world beaters, ready to contest with more than 550 athletes from over 60 nations. Enjoy these spectacular races from Bathurst, Australia on Saturday, 18 February 2023, live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1. KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
Vijana chapakazi wenye nguvu za ziada.
My youth, uko na talent ya kusing, spoken word, kucompose jingles ama any other unexploited artistic talent. Gava through Ministry of Information, Communication and the Digital Economy na KBC sasa wamekame up na project ya kupromote usanii called Studio Mashinani. Hizi ni studios ziko grassroots and they are fitted with high quality state-of-the-art equipment where you can produce quality audio and video music content for free. What's more, wana offer mentorship na talanta yako itakuwa promoted on KBC Channel 1 TV, Y254 na radio stations za KBC. Tembelea Studio Mashinani huko Comarox, Langata, Sauti House Mombasa, Kirwara huko Gatanga, Kitui next to Manyanyoni Chiefs Camp na Kisumu City wako hapo KBC station. Usilalie talent. This is your chance to commercialize and popularize your talent through Studio Mashinani.
Enjoy a selection of the best. Regina Ray and Tingazi.
Bado jamwambia unamlike. Mrealize jamwachilia mkono kutoka nikuje hapa.
Love blossoms in Mexico with the Trier sisters in Las Bandidas.
I beg you, please don't go.
I want you to be the happiest man in the world with a woman who appreciates and respects you.
An array of music rave.
Make me lie when I don't want to.
Blues.
You are my everything.
Two local jams. And we sit to chat with the Thiambo.
You know, I can't even tell whether you're looking at me, seeing me, with the Louis Vuitton.
Classic comedy.
Makono too. Say that
again. Enjoy the Divas programming this February only on KBC Channel 1. Kenya's watching.
Welcome back, our socials at KBC Channel 1, my Twitter handle at Mboya24. Moving on, the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation, KBC, is seeking additional funding of 1.2 billion shillings in the 2022-2023 supplementary budget. Appearing before the ICT committee, Acting Managing Director Samuel Maina said that the funds will go into the acquisition, installation and commissioning of a new studio equipment, modern outside broadcasting van, as well as FM transmitters, and also to pay the pending bills. Wairi Monjega reports.
Ministry of ICT and Digital Economy made their case before the ICT committee, led by its chairperson, Member of Parliament for Dagoretti South, John Carey, as they sought additional funding in the 2022-2023 supplementary budget. First to appear before the ICT committee was Kenya Broadcasting Corporation, KBC, which is appealing for additional funding of 1.2 billion shillings to, among others, cater for acquisition, installation and commissioning of new studio equipment.
Center chair and members of this committee, this is like the kitchen in a house, where the kitchen is where everything is brought for it to be cooked, to be served.
Acting Managing Director Samuel Maina said the broadcasting house has outdated infrastructure, compromising the quality of content on air at a time the industry is becoming very competitive.
To improve our infrastructure for TV, that if you improve your signal, TV is about what you watch, what you see. If we improve the signal and we improve our content and we take care of our staff, we are going to be paying our viewers.
Although KBC has improved on its ranking, becoming the second most watched TV station, improved signal quality, coverage, viewer experience as well as staff remuneration is key.
KBC has become a training ground. Every year you lose the best. You don't lose the bad ones. You lose the best presenters.
On pension, the MD asked for patience as he works on a plan to ensure KBC retirees are paid on time. Wairi Mujenga for Prime Edition.
Secretary General Jeremiah Kioni has reiterated that there is no vacuum in Jubilee Party, saying that the party is in Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition to stay. Kioni downplayed reports that he has been sacked as Jubilee Party's Secretary General.
Following a section of the former lawmakers expressing their full support of a resolution by the party's National Executive Council to initiate the process to decamp from Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition, Jubilee Secretary General Jeremiah Kioni stated that the intrigues were part of the dangerous plot to weaken the opposition.
The desire to clubber Jubilee Party is not anything new. It was started last year in the month of June, and when even another outfit party was formed in the name of Jubilee Asili. And this has continued. And this is a scheme that remains active and alive within UDA.
Kioni has dismissed reports suggesting he has been ejected from the party's top leadership.
It's a procedure which is clearly spelled out in our constitution, which requires you to give a 7 days notice minimum when you are calling a NEC meeting. And again, only 2 people can call NEC within Jubilee, the party leader and the Secretary General.
Tumeangalia tukaona ya kwamba wanavuruta opposition ili wakiingia bunge waanze kupitisha miswada ambayo ni ya kugandamiza wa Kenya. They want to push agendas in parliament without any objection, without debate, without opposition.
The SG was speaking after meeting Jubilee youth leaders in Nairobi. This comes as Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka took issue with Azimio MPs who have decided to work with the Kenya Kwanza administration without the permission of their party leadership.
Na nyinyi nyote hamukwenda, all of them, because sio kwamba walikuwa na tabia mbaya ama hawaheshimu mamlaka. Ni kwa vile walisema kama unataka tuje Ikulu, ngoja tupate idhini ya chama. At least mujulishe chama. Vile nilijua kwamba wenu Wavinya and Mutula were going for the governors meeting, I knew as a party leader. Lakini hao ndio wanaitwa kando kando, ndio shida imetokea ODM.
Machakos Governor Wavinya Ndeti has demanded that opposition leader Raila Odinga backs Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka for the 2027 presidency. Speaking during a public participation exercise in Kathiani town Tuesday afternoon, the Machakos governor said the Akamba community need reciprocation.
Mheshimiwa Kalonzo Musyoka, ambia Raila akuje nyuma yako. Ambia Raila akuje nyuma ya nani? This time, support His Excellency Kalonzo Musyoka. And I'm telling you with no fear or favor, if you do not support him, we are not with you.
Wavinya's declaration comes barely few weeks after Raila, who has been actively spearheading anti-government rallies, insisted he will not retire from politics.
Let's now move from politics into healthcare. The healthcare unions have faulted the move by the Council of Governors to extend universal healthcare coverage staff contracts for 3 years under the same conditions. The unions say that the move is discriminatory and demoralizing. They want the 9,000 workers to be absorbed under permanent and pensionable terms to boost their morale. Nancy Okware reports.
Solidarity forever.
Healthcare unions have strongly opposed the move by the Council of Governors to have the universal health coverage workers' contracts extended for 3 years under similar terms. The unions say they expected the over 800 members of staff hired during the COVID-19 pandemic given better terms under permanent and pensionable terms.
The Minister of Health through the CS had declared to put these officers on permanent and pensionable. The act of the Council of Governors to twist the national government to put these people on contract, which is against the existing laws and the fair practice, as has been provided in the ILO codes, which we subscribe to as a country, is not something that we can condone. The workers we are talking about are earning half of what the other workers who are on permanent and pensionable are earning, yet these people are doing the same work under the same environment.
They have termed the move by the Council of Governors as discriminatory.
All the unions in the healthcare will march to Arambe House and remind the president of his promise. Will then again march to MOH and remind them of their promise. Then finally, we'll have a march of our lives, a march to ensure that our rights as workers and the rights of Kenyans are upheld.
We will call our colleagues to down their tools and we'll make procession in this city and we will bring everything on a standstill.
It is high time the governors realize and stop valuing us in terms of money, but value healthcare workers in terms of service they offer to the people.
Meanwhile, the Ministry of Health, in collaboration with the University of Nairobi, has launched an online system to track drugs and treatment of patients within its facilities.
We are working with the government of Kenya, which developed the Avia Kenya integrated health system, management system. And that system, we have now domiciled it here at the University of Nairobi. And that means that even the patients from here, when they are referred to some government hospitals which have applied this system, like Kenyatta National Referral Hospital, we are able, the doctors there are able to see them directly without asking for a file.
They don't need to be told that some of your records in Kisumu, so I don't know what I can be able to give you. Adoption of digital health to ensure that we're delivering the highest quality standard of healthcare to our Kenyan is our mandate.
Nancy Okware, Prime Edition.
Let's now look at that security item. As filed by Ben Chumba, Inspector General of Police Japhet Koome visited Kainuk area in Turkana County as authorities heightened security near the border of Turkana and West Pokot counties following rampant bandit attacks. Koome is in the region to assess the security situation 1 day after President William Ruto directed the Kenya Defence Forces, KDF, to join the security operation to weed out bandits from the North Rift region as well as other parts of the country. Ben Chumba's report now. Yes.
Inspector General of Police Japheth Koome landed at Kainuk Anti-Stock Theft Unit amid tight security, a day after President William Ruto directed the Kenya Defence Forces to join the security operation to weed out bandits from North Rift region and other parts of the country. Koome is in the region to assess the security situation.
A major operation started, and it extends all the way to the neighboring counties, West Pokot, Elgeyo Marakwet, all the way to Samburu, Laikipia. We have no option. People of this region have no option. They must learn to coexist.
A spot check of the road between Kainuk and Kakong, near the area where officers were killed by suspected Pokot bandits over the weekend, revealed intensified security patrols by police officers in armored personnel carriers and land cruisers. Police service vehicles, private and commercial cars slowly returned to the road connecting Lodwar and Kitale following the heightened security.
This habit of one community attacking the other one will not be allowed to continue. We have the capacity and the will to ensure that there is calm within this region.
This even as residents commended the national government in its efforts to hunt down bandits.
Operation ya direct ipate kuendelea, watoto waende shule, turudi kwa mashamba, tuende soko, tufungue hata kazi yetu. Sisi tulifunga kazi yetu, kama sisi wa mama tuliadhirika ya kutosha.
KDF ibambane vilivyo, haki ya Waturkana ipatikane.
Hiyo msitu kutoka Marich mpaka Kakongo ichomwe yote mpaka kwa laga iwe uwanja kama Sahara Desert. Ile hakuna hii wanyama ya game pakile iko hapo ya mishwe. Hapo yote ichomwe, mwagwe dawa, kwa maana watu wengi wamekufa hapo.
In Baringo South, Mukutani Ward, one of the most affected areas with over 3 decades of insecurity, 57-year-old and a father of 14 terms the move by the president as long overdue.
Sababu tukisikia ile kama ile ya Sabaot, vile KDF waliingia pale, kazi ilifanyika na watu waliishi kwa amani. So nafikiria hata saa hii KDF wakienda Arabal kufanya hiyo operation mpaka Mkutani ile yote, tutarudi huko.
Harrison, who fled his home village a decade ago following the rampant attack, is among 500 displaced families in Baringo who had for long yearned for peace to be restored in the region.
Sijui sasa hii operation itafanywa ama ni ile ya kuambia tu watu operation iko, na sisi tunaona kabisa ni mbaya sana.
In Laikipia, the government has called on residents to abide by the curfew's regulations to give ample time security officers in the operation area to do their job.
Kuna wale ambao kidogo wamepewa nafasi ya kuhudumia wananchi kama vile madaktari. Itakuwa vizuri ikiwa utatembea usiku ukiwa daktari au muuguzi, uwe na cheti chako cha kazi kudhibitisha kwamba wewe you are a nurse, you are a medic, you are in that profession. Officers wa usalama wako huru kutembea.
Walisema watachukua ile bunduki ambayo ni haramu. Tunawaomba tafadhali waweke hiyo mpango kabisa kwa meza, ndio wakianza hiyo operation hakuna bunduki ambayo ni haramu itatoka nje.
Ben Chumba, Prime Edition.
Now, although being in the military may appear a risky affair with absolutely no guarantee about where one will be stationed or even how long a deployment to a war zone may last, on one hand, on the other hand, the job offers military officers an elaborate exposure to opportunities for career growth. Major retired Victor Wataku's story illustrates that. Here now is his story with Nisi Imano on Military Tales.
Major retired Victor Wataku was born in 1956 in Trans Nzoia County.
Yeah, it was tough. Yeah. You know, you don't have a father figure to look up to. Yeah. And you don't have anybody to help you.
Although Victor was a smart boy, he could not attend university to further his education.
My father died in 1975 when I was in Form 1. And I had to look elsewhere for school fee. And my uncle came in handy. And he paid all my school fees to Form 4. But then he had children too. So he told me, hapa nimefika ni mwisho. So watafuta mwingine akusaidie kufanya ingine. There was nobody else to help.
An alumni of Friends School Kamusinga, Victor did not envision himself joining the military.
I didn't want to be a policeman. I didn't want to be a teacher. But I wanted to be something else. So I was looking for that thing. And that thing was in me. That I was going to look for it.
In 1979, Victor traveled to Nairobi seeking for greener pastures.
After my Form 4, I asked my mother if I would get some money. So she told me to sell a car. And I came to Nairobi. My uncle was a cop. He was at Central Police Station. So I came to his place. And he was very accommodative.
Shortly after, in 1979, Victor landed a job in the Bank of Baroda as a teller.
Those days of Form 4 with a Division 1, you would go anywhere. You'd get a job anywhere. We used to have newspapers in the bank. Okay. The bank used to buy a few copies. And it just used to be the Standard and the Nation. And, So I bumped into it, I saw it, and I saw it in the papers.
Victor Wataku was recruited to the Kenya Air Force as a trainee pilot in 1981.
So in those days, Kenya Air Force cadets used there for 6 months. And then we were posted back to FTS. So FTS to kind of learn our ground school, being taught how to fly then the aeroplane on the Bulldog.
After training, Victor was posted to Laikipia Air Base, where he served from 1985 to 1995.
Most of the responsibilities in a fighter base is mostly during peacetime, is training. We trained in every scenario, dropping bombs, doing air-to-air. During national holidays, you would do flybys, air shows. Most of the air shows I did, because that time there was an air show almost in every town.
At the height of his career, Victor Wataku was selected to be a presidential pilot for the then president, Daniel Arap Moi.
When you become the captain of taking a president from here to there, it's a lot of responsibility. And President Moi is a nice person, down to earth. Sometimes, he would come and sit in the jump seat and he would ask you things that you would talk to him. But a nice person.
Major retired Victor Ndiema Wataku served in the Kenya Air Force for 19 years. He served as a presidential pilot and beyond as a civilian pilot. Reporting from Karen in Nairobi County, I'm Nisi Emmanuel.
After the conclusion of an impressive Athletics Kenya Cross Country Championships, Team Kenya now sets her sight on the 44th edition of the Global Showpiece, the World Athletics Cross Country Championships Bathurst 23 in Australia. Lined up for the titles is Kenya's contingent of 30 world beaters, ready to contest with more than 550 athletes from over 60 nations. Enjoy these spectacular races from Bathurst, Australia on Saturday, 18 February 2023, live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1. KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
Vijana chapakazi wenye nguvu za ziada.
My youth, uko na talent ya kusing, spoken word, kucompose jingles ama any other unexploited artistic talent. Gava through Ministry of Information, Communication and the Digital Economy na KBC sasa wamekama up na project ya kupromote usanii called Studio Mashinani. Hizi ni studios ziko grassroots and they are fitted with high quality state-of-the-art equipment where you can produce quality audio and video music content for free. What's more, wanaoffer mentorship na talanta yako itakuwa promoted on KBC Channel 1 TV, Y254 na radio stations za KBC. Tembelea studio mashinani huko Comarox, Langata, Sauti House Mombasa, Kirwara huko Gatanga, Kitui next to Manyanyoni Chiefs Camp na Kisumu City wako hapo KBC station. Usilalie talent. This is your chance to commercialize and popularize your talent through studio mashinani.
Enjoy a selection of the best. Regina Ray and Tingazi.
Bado jamwambia unamlike. Mrealize jamwachilia mkono kutoka nikuje hapa.
Love blossoms in Mexico with the Trier sisters in Las Bandidas.
I beg you, please don't go.
I want you to be the happiest man in the world with a woman who appreciates and respects you.
An array of music rave.
Make me lie when I don't want to.
Blues.
You are my everything.
Two local gems. And we sit to chat with the Thiambo.
I can't even tell whether you're looking at me, seeing me. With the Louis Vuitton.
Classic comedy.
Makono tu. Say that
again. Enjoy the Divas programming this February only on KBC Channel 1. Kenya's watching.
Welcome to the day's business. I'm sitting in for Betty Kiptum, who is in Mauritius. Our top story in the business segment: fuel prices will remain unchanged over the next 1 month. In its month pump review, prices, the Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority, EPRA, says that government used lower prices of super petrol to keep the retail price of diesel unchanged. In a statement, EPRA says that government this month tapped 19 shillings and 41 cents per litre from the Petroleum Development Levy to subsidize the retail price of kerosene. EPRA further says the landed cost of super petrol, diesel and kerosene all reduced by 0.12%, 4.76% and 5.1% respectively. On the other hand, the shilling this month weakened 1.6% to 130 shillings and 64 cents against the dollar. This is despite crude oil prices reducing to a 10-month low of $90.90 per barrel. Three Kenyan firms are under investigations for engaging in anti-competitive practices by the COMESA Competition Commission. An automaker is suspected to have entered into agreements with distributors that contain territorial restrictions as well as unfair price guidelines, while two medical companies are under scrutiny for skewed pricing of COVID-19 test kits. Betty Kiptum reports from Mauritius.
During the COVID-19 pandemic, countries imposed travel restrictions and controls to contain the spread of infections. Among the control measures were a requirement that travelers test negative for the coronavirus. In Kenya, like any other country, many had to pay up to $100 for a single COVID-19 test. The COMESA Competition Commission says this high cost may have been part of unfair practices by some medical laboratories that had a big market share of the COVID-19 tests.
So if they've managed to reduce by 50% there and 50% in Eswatini, it clearly shows that the price in these other countries is not a very true reflection of what the price should be.
He says the pricing was similar in most COMESA member states, despite the different circumstances and economic powers of the countries.
And we observed that these are the same companies. Of course, Eswatini is already in COMESA. So these are the same companies that have operations in other COMESA countries: Kenya, Uganda, Rwanda, Zambia, Zimbabwe, and a number of other countries. So these are the very same companies, and the prices were very significantly identical.
The ongoing investigation seeks to determine the flouting of competition laws by the two laboratories. And a local automaker is also under the radar following distribution agreements with territorial restrictions and price guidelines that it entered into with distributors for the sale of brand new vehicles and spare parts. The COMESA Competition Commission is concerned that the automaker may have been prohibiting out-of-territory passive sales to the detriment of consumers. The probe also seeks to establish if the automaker's actions were meant to keep prices high for brand new vehicles and spare parts in Kenya and other COMESA member states.
Now, that kills competition, because if you are the distributor who is so efficient, who provides other after-sales service, maybe on the same price, but he gives other after-sales service, which makes this price actually cheaper to another one who doesn't give those services, then they will not do that.
Competition laws are there to protect consumers from unfair prices, ensure that markets are thriving, and that innovation is happening in various industries. The COMESA Competition Commission is saying that for the companies under investigation, if they are found culpable, they will be fined, and that the Commission will ensure that they are operating within the existing competition laws. Reporting from Port Louis in Mauritius, I'm Betty Kiptum.
Now, unapproved buildings in urban centers will not be demolished if they meet the set standards of structural integrity and owners regularize them. Chief Architect in the State of Department Public Works, Lawrence Mochama, says that the government will begin regularizing buildings and infrastructure attaining certain levels of compliance, which will be given guidelines of improvement as opposed to demolishing them.
In Nairobi County, about 250,000 residential units are constructed annually to meet growing demands for housing. Those in the construction sector say demand for real estate in urban centers is only increasing, despite the rising cost of living. Within the last 1 year, construction costs more than doubled from 2.7% to 6.11%, ultimately increasing the average cost per square meter by about 43,000 shillings.
Because this is a huge program that requires many of us to be in there for us to support government in realizing what it needs to do.
They say a policy review is needed to ensure buildings that do not reach compliance levels are guided on how to improve, as long as they have structural integrity.
Must also be arrived to the fact that we cannot bring all those buildings down. We must have something in between.
Not every building that will be audited that will be qualified for approval. There will be some which will be recommended for removal. There will be others which will be asked to do some modifications and adjustments in order for them to be accepted as habitable human areas.
In addition, an urban planning technical committee has been set up for Nairobi County to audit non-approved buildings.
And that's why the Nairobi City County government and the national government have joined hands to set a team that will go around, check the building integrity. In a building that it doesn't mean that if a building is not approved, it's definitely condemned. In a building that means the structural integrity will have to be regularized.
Partnerships between the industry and the county government, and of course, with those two players on the table, more than happy to support it at the Assembly to ensure these discussions translate into legislative policies that are then implemented by the executive.
This goes in the greater scheme of ensuring the city structure is at par with international capital city standards.
Because these are also standards that are looked at globally by the World Bank in terms of ease of doing business.
They are, however, urging contractors to seek professional guidance at all stages of construction as the root solution for stemming cases of buildings collapsing.
People are not building and buildings collapsing out of any professional negligence. It's a lack of professional input. How does that happen? Someone comes in, they have words of cash, they want to build, and they decide the shortest way is better. It's a human thing. You always look to do things easier, but shortcuts always cost you more.
Hibak Said for Prime Edition.
Nimesahau kucheza Loto Moto. Usisahau kucheza Loto Moto. Shinda milioni 2 kila siku kwenye M-Pesa. Chagua lipa na M-Pesa. Paybill number 757070. Account number andika neno Loto. Kisha weka star na nambari yako ya simu. Weka kiwango chochote cha pesa kuanzia shilingi 50 hadi 2,000.
Aulali.
Lipa kisha subiri draw. Welala. Nitakutimizia ndoto zako. Milioni 2 usiamini. Ujumbe huu umeidhinishwa na BCLB.
Enjoy a selection of the best. Regina Ray and Tingazi.
Bado hujamwambia unamlike. Mrealize jamwachilia mkono kutoka nikuje hapa.
Love blossoms in Mexico with the Trier sisters in Las Bandidas.
I beg you, please don't go. I want you to be the happiest man in the world with a woman who appreciates and respects you.
An array of music rave.
Make me lie when I don't want to.
Blues.
You are my everything.
2 local jams. And we sit to chat with the Diambo.
You know, I can't even tell whether you're looking at me, seeing me. With the Louis Vuitton.
Classic comedy.
Makono too. Say that again.
Enjoy the Divas programming this February only on KBC Channel 1. Kenya's watching.
After the conclusion of an impressive Athletics Kenya Cross Country Championships, Team Kenya now sets her sight on the 44th edition of the Global Showpiece, the World Athletics Cross Country Championships Bathurst 23 in Australia. Lined up for the titles is Kenya's contingent of 30 world beaters, ready to contest with more than 550 athletes from over 60 nations. Enjoy these spectacular races from Bathurst, Australia on Saturday, 18 February 2023, live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1. KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
Biggest odds in the world every day on selected matches. Make a decision. Mozart Bet.
Welcome back. It's now time to look at the day's sports. Karen Kibet is on the other side of the studio.
Thank you very much, Mboya. Let me take it away straight. My name is Karen Kibet. Blazers women's hockey team registered their first win today at the ongoing Mozart Bet African Cup of Club Championships after beating their counterparts Strathmore University Scorpions 1-0 in their second match at the City Park Hockey Stadium. Likewise, Western Jaguars also won their first match of the tournament this evening after hitting Weatherhead of Uganda by 2-0. Meanwhile, the Kenya Police men's team thrashed Moshi Khalsa from Tanzania 10-0 in an early kick-off match played at the Sheikh Union Hockey Stadium to register their second victory in a row in the tournament.
Blazers women, who drew yesterday in their opener match against Kisumu Lakers, turned the tables against the Strathmore Scorpions, which completed the 2022 league season unbeaten. Rhoda Quira's lone goal in the 43rd minute and the former champions the 3 points. Meanwhile, Kenya Police did not spare Tanzania's Moshi team after thrashing them 10-0. In other matches, men's Premier League champions Butali Warriors, who beat Western Jaguars 2-1 in their opening match yesterday, were held to a 2-all draw by Ghana Exchequers. Kisumu Lakers women's team was handed a walkover against Kada Queens after the Nigerian team failed to show up. Nigeria Hockey Federation has also withdrawn the team, and also Kada Queens, citing financial constraints.
Thank you, Nora, for that report. Moving on, Giants Gor Mahia have moved to the top of the Kenya Premier League table after beating Wazito 4-0 at the Kasarani Stadium in the only top-flight game of the day. Gor Mahia, who began the match in second position behind Nzoia Sugar, led 3-0 at the half-time thanks to Benson Omala's hat-trick. With 3 minutes to go, Kogalo sealed their win with a fourth goal to move 2 points clear of Nzoia at the top. Kogalo now have 33 points and are yet to play a match to equal Nzoia's tally of the season. Kogalo's next assignment will be against Ulinzi Stars on the 18th of this month. The same day, Wazito will be taking on Bandari.
Is on. Can Omala score? And he scores. It is now a hat-trick for Omala in the first half. It's a hat.
Home player Greg Snow moved to the top of the leaderboard after round 3 of the Muthaiga leg of the Safari Tour Golf Series. Snow carded a round of 3 under 68 at the par 71 course to move to a total of 3 under par 270 headed into Wednesday's final round. Rwanda's Alois had a round of 2 under par 69 to move to the joint second with day 2 leader Mutahi Kibugi on 2 under par 211. Kibugi had a round of 2 over par 73. Ugandan Gaita Rodel, Great Rift Valley's Justus Madoya and Nyali Daniel Nduva are tied fourth on 1 under par 212. The final round will be played tomorrow with the winner of the event walking away with 300,000 Kenya shillings. Meanwhile, the list of Kenyan and regional golfers who have qualified for next month's Magical Kenya Open will be announced tomorrow.
Good round today. Got back into contention now, leading by 1 going into the next last round tomorrow. Just positives from today. I mean, I think I hit the ball very well. Good iron play this week so far. Just got to keep it going for the next couple of days. Really looking forward to tomorrow. Hopefully get the job done.
Morocco successfully hosted the 2022 FIFA Club World Cup for a third time, with Real Madrid emerging champions after beating Al Hilal of Saudi Arabia 5-3 in the final. The tournament gave the North African country an opportunity to prove its preparedness to play host for FIFA World Cup competitions after FIFA officials gave an okay to some of its venues.
Morocco has over 6 venues with over 35,000 seating capacity, among them Mohammed VI Sports Complex in Rabat, Batuta in Tangier City, Agadir, Fez and Marrakesh Stadia, and other over 10 stadiums with below 20,000 seating capacity. The country has one of the largest youth academies in Africa, which has produced many superstars for the Morocco national team. According to the Royal Federation of Morocco, the country's good performance in last year's FIFA World Cup by finishing 4th started over 12 years ago. The federation has placed its bid to host the 2025 AFCON finals, and they are hopeful to be given the chance for a second time since 1988. CAF Congress is expected to name the host soon after delaying the announcement twice. Other nations in 2025 AFCON bid are Algeria, Zambia, South Africa and Benin and Nigeria, who have a joint bid. Ivory Coast will host the 34th edition of the AFCON competition next year after being postponed from this year.
Thank you, Buckley, for that report. Now, tonight at 11 p.m., 2 Champions League fixtures of the round of 16, the first leg, will be going down. Do not miss, because PSG will be taking on Bayern and Milan will be battling it out with Tottenham Hotspur. Do not miss those 2 fixtures, and tomorrow we will definitely bring you the results in case you missed to watch. And also on Wednesday, there will be 2 more fixtures. So enough pretty exciting fixtures of the Champions League. Don't miss out. That's all we had for you tonight. My name is Karen Kibet. Do have yourself a peaceful night. I'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place. I now hand you over to my colleague, Tom Mboya.
There's also another fixture of the 18th of February.
Oh yes, Gor Mahia will be playing.
Yeah, Gor will be playing Ulinzi. And by the way, Gor has given a good account of themselves
Oh yes.
on that match against Wazito. So I hope that,
They will continue.
Yeah, it's time. Actually, it's time fans trooped back to the stadium, to support the mighty Kogalo.
Gor Mahia do have fans, only that when there's a fixture, there's a political something happening. But they do have fans. So let's hope on the 18th of February, Gor Mahia fans will turn out in large numbers to support their team now that they're leading the table.
Okay, all right. Yes. Thank you, Marakwet.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Marakwet.
Biggest odds in the world every day on selected matches. Make a decision. Mozart Bet.
Well, that does it for KBC Prime Edition on the day that the world celebrated Valentine's Day. I want to thank you on behalf of this dedicated team. Until next week on Monday and Tuesday, my name is Mboya. Good night from the capital city of Nairobi, Kenya. Bye-bye.